So we are in the middle of our discussion of the 5th verse of Siksastakam, and we are coming to the end of discussion on the 5th verse. So we heard Srila Sridhar Maharaj's commentary yesterday, and Gurudev has a short comment on it here, which we can hear before going on to the 6th verse. So this is where we finished. Gurudev was highlighting the progression, because as we mentioned yesterday, there is a development, within these verses of the Siksastakam. There is a progression in the sentiment, in the mood, in the realization of the sincere chanter. And so Gurudev was making that point here. Once somebody has genuinely entered into exclusive devotional life, I jumped ahead here. Yeah. So the 3rd verse is humility, chanting with humility, tolerance, and respect. So there's that realization of chanting with the proper mood. Chanting is not just an external practice, but we need to enter into a particular spirit and mood in order to truly contact the name. This is what distinguishes the practice of pure devotion, as opposed to mixed devotion, that we're actually, and we were discussing this a lot yesterday, that we're actually wholeheartedly entering into the spirit of the practice. It's not some subsidiary thing or some, ritualistic thing we're performing every now and again. But we're actually wholeheartedly, with our full consciousness, entering into this culture in a conscious way. So once you do that, Gurudev points out, then naturally the next realization is this desire to exclusively practice, at the expense of everything else. Ahaitu bhakti means, pure, unmotivated devotion that is free from material motivation. So we'll hear that again. I'll just read that paragraph. Once someone enters into practicing life by following Mahaprabhu's formula of chanting the Lord's holy name with a mood of humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others, then the only target and desire of their life becomes ahaitu bhakti, eternal devotion free from material motivations. A practitioner does not want any of his energy to be taken by offensive activity, and he desires that his full energy be engaged in service that pleases the Lord. Okay, and now then Gurudev describes here the next progression and realization, which is bringing us to the 5th verse. When a practitioner has entered into exclusive devotional life, which is described in the 4th verse, he can understand Krishna's position and can see that his own position in the mundane world is an ugly, impious platform from which to serve the Lord. To express this mood of a practitioner, Mahaprabhu prays in the next verse of his Siksastakam. So once we've entered, more exclusively into the practice, we get more clarity, the contrast, between where we are now and what it is we're striving for, what the ideal is. It becomes more clear to us. So then the 5th verse, Ayi Nanda, this realization is expressed there. Ayi Nanda Tanuja Kinkaram, Patitam Bambishame Bhavambudo, Gripaya Tavapada Pankaja, Stita Duli Sajisham Vichintaya. Because if we're not practicing in an exclusive way, then we're not really feeling our condition. If we are, if we're mixing with all the things of this world in an indiscriminate way, then there won't be any clarity, because everything's jumbled for us. do some, watch a movie, chant some japa, like that kind of thing. Like you have your list of activities. Everything's just kind of jumbled, There can be a lack of clarity, lack of that inner feeling behind the practice. So once we enter more exclusively in more of a focused way in our practice, then we get more clarity about our own position. That the mirror starts to clear, the dust starts to clear. O Lord, I am your eternal servant, but because of my misfortune, I have fallen into this terrible ocean of birth and death. I pray that by your causeless mercy, you will accept me as your own, and I will be connected with you like a particle of dust on your lotus feet. And also, this feeling of dependency will become stronger within us, because, practicing in more of a pure and clean way, it will, it allows for, let's say, a kind of emptiness within us. It allows for space within us. Because again, if we're filling ourselves too much up with various things of this world, then the hunger is not, we won't feel that hunger because we're already full of so many other things. Like if you've been snacking and then you spoil your appetite, right? So like that, if we're drawing upon many things in the world, then that like healthy emptiness, that healthy space is not there to really like feel the hunger, feel the need for spiritual life. So when we cultivate that more, this mood of dependency, this natural mood of dependency will become stronger within us. Mahaprabhu's prayer to Krishna means, if you give me your merciful glance, I and everything I possess will become purified and useful for your service. Stita duli sajisham vichintaya. My existence will enter the transcendental service world, and I will be able to serve you purely there for your satisfaction. If the Lord will give even a little bit of his attention to a devotee, then the devotee will be completely purified. As the sparking light of a match can remove 100 years of darkness from a closed room, so everything can be cleaned and cleared from anyone's heart by the Lord's divine influence. This verse, this verse, it we want to hear from our gurus, but just like speaking on a personal level, it resonates with me a lot. This 5th verse, because it's like there's this clarity that's starting to develop, as to what our condition is. Like, we've been living like this, patitam bambish, like there's like this awareness of our own condition that's arisen. Like my God, like where am I? What am I doing? How did I end up here? Because we've actually been living like this since time immemorial. But this type of clarity starts to arise by the grace of Guru, Guru and Vaishnava. Because this is one of the powers of Maya, the illusory energy, that it dulls that sense, it numbs that sense of what our actual condition is. Like there's one purport of Srila Swami Maharaj I came across where he gave the example of it was something like a maggot in a drain doesn't have awareness of what a terrible situation it's in. That maggot is actually quite comfortable and happy, in a warm, squishy environment.
You lost Kunti.
And this is so this is the power of Maya, that, and it's a kind of mercy in a way. It's like an anesthesia, that we're not feeling the pain, that we're actually in, that our bodies actually, should be feeling, we're not feeling it. So we're actually, like, if we had actual awareness of our condition, it would be almost unbearable. Like, we are, Krishna and Nitya Das, right? We are by nature eternal servants of Krishna. And we're living in a state right now where that doesn't interest us very much. We've taken ourselves away from our beloved Lord. We're living a separate life from our Lord. We're pursuing so many things which are, antagonistic to that true inner identity, like a mad person, So it's actually a terrible position that we're in. So by the grace of Guru, Sambandha Gyan starts to develop. Sambandha Gyan, clear understanding, clear knowledge of the true nature of things. It gradually starts to develop within us, and we get more understanding, more realization, and that will be theoretical, and also, it must be must not just be an understanding, but must eventually be a realization, a necessity, an awakenment. So that will, by the grace of Guru, that will gradually develop within us, and we will have those moments of clarity, like what's being described in this verse. Like, my God, what is this situation that I'm in? Please help me. Any connection with you, Stita Duli, Duli is dust. Like, let me be a particle of dust at your lotus feet. So that's highlighting the value of any connection with the Lord, even the most remote connection with the Lord, the most insignificant connection is infinitely better, is incomparably better than any position in this world, the highest position in this world. And who are we appealing to? As Srila Maharaj was discussing so beautifully in Golden Volcano, who are we appealing to? Nanda Tanuja, not a frightening Lord or a judgmental Lord, but most loving, charming, sweet, affectionate Lord. Kinkar, I mean servant. Like, I'm meant to be your kinkar. I'm meant to be your servant. That's my real identity. But somehow I ended up here in this frightening, Vishame Bhavamburo, this frightening, horrible ocean of material existence. Somehow I ended up here. Kripaya tava pada pankaja stita duri sadri. So please, kindly, mercifully take me, situate me, place me as a particle of dust at your lotus feet. Okay. So then we can continue on to the 6th verse. In the 6th verse of his Siksastakam, Mahaprabhu prays, Nayanam galad ashru daraya vadanam gad arudaya gira bulakir nichitam rapukara tavanama grahane bhavishyati. So again, there's progression in the Siksastakam. So that 5th verse, as I mentioned at the end of our discussion yesterday, the 5th verse is the point up to which, is relevant for us, describing our condition, or what's like practical and helpful for us. And then the following verses, they're describing stages of realization which are beyond us at present. But they're helpful for us to understand, what is the direction in which we're going, and what is the ideal, but we want to understand they're not applicable for us, at the same time. So, Nayanam Galara Ashru Daraya, Varanam Gad Gada Rudaya Gira, Pulakaya Nichitam Vapukara, Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati. So here, in this verse, this intense mood of hankering, desire for the Lord's connection and separation from the Lord, that is being described here. O Lord, when will tears stream from my eyes, my voice falter, and the hair on my body stand on end as I call your name? These are the symptoms of a servant who purely serves the Lord and chants his name without offense. So, Gurudev's making an important point here. Like, it's not that in it's, some type of like, what's the word? Thank you, there. Because you could misunderstand this verse, right? Because it's describing all of these symptoms of divine love. You could take this as I can't think of the right word, but you could take this in a sense of like enjoyment. Like, oh, when do I get to experience all of these cool things, When do I get to experience, this divine emotion and tears and shivering and et cetera, et cetera. Like, when is that going to happen to me, You could take it like that. But what's actually being said is, when will which Gurudev is indicating here, when will my love for you be so intense, so profound, that in separation from you, these types of symptoms are coming as a result. These things are coming, these symptoms, they're indicators of the intensity of divine love, which is the desired thing, not the symptoms. So these are the symptoms of a servant who purely serves the Lord and chants his name without offense. So, when will I be able to purely serve you and chant your name without offense? That's more what's actually being expressed here. Mahaprabhu prays in this way to express his hankering to chant the Lord's holy name without offense. If we can purely chant the Lord's holy name, we will get his direct service, right? Because, and this is also the point which was made in the first verse, that one who's able to chant without offense, without an offensive mentality, this awakening of divine love and these symptoms of ecstasy, they will come, automatically. So when will I be able to chant without offense? That is more to the point what is being expressed here. If we can purely chant the Lord's holy name, we will get his direct service and feel ecstatic joy in our life. Srimad Bhagavatam concluded, Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkha Shamanas Tam Namami Harim Param. Nam Sankirtan is supreme. So this verse we were discussing a few days ago. It's the last verse of Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is honoring, celebrating Nam Sankirtan, congregational chanting of the name, calling all to take this up. And the literal translation is, I offer my obeisance unto the Supreme Lord Hari. Chanting his name absolves all sin, and offering obeisance to him dispels all sorrow. So Nam Sankirtan is supreme. But Mahaprabhu commented, Tar Madhya Sarva Shashta Nam Sankirtan Niraparade Nam Loile Pai Premadam. Nam Sankirtan is the supreme form of Bhakti Yoga, but only if we chant the Lord's holy name without offense will Krishna Prema appear in our hearts. So amongst all, so this verse is actually following on from another verse which mentions the 5 principal devotional practices. Is it Nam, Kirtan, is it? Can't remember now. Nam, Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan. I can't remember, but they are, I think, hearing, chanting.
It's not the same as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam.
No, those are the 9 practices that were given by Prahlad, but then Mahaprabhu distills it down further to 5 essential ones, and it's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Nam Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Dham, chanting, hearing the scripture, residing in the Dham, worshipping the deity. I can't remember the 5th one. But anyway, so Mahaprabhu mentions these 5 practices. And then the following verse, Tar Madhya Sarva Shesh. So amongst these, Tar Madhya means amongst these which have been mentioned, Sarva Sheshta, the best of all of them is Nam Sankirtan. But there's a caveat here. Niraparad Nam Loile Pai Premadan. If that can be performed niraparad, without offense, Taila Pai Premadan, that person will get the wealth of prema, the wealth of divine love. Mahaprabhu wants everyone to chant the holy name purely, without offense. Offenses are very difficult to avoid and dangerous, but we must avoid them because they are our obstacle in chanting the Lord's holy name. Mahaprabhu shows us his mood of prayer to the holy name to help us attract the holy name's grace, which is what will truly free us from offenses. With the proper mood of prayer and regular chanting, we can be hopeful that we can receive the holy name's grace. Nama parada yuktanam namanya eva harantyagam avishanti prayuktani tanyavarta karani cha. When the holy name sees our heartfelt desire to try to chant him purely, then he will be merciful to us. We will get the qualifications we need to chant properly, and all of our difficulties will go away by his grace. So this is cited by Jiva Goswami. This is from the Padma Prama. Nama Parada Yuktanam, continue, yes, you're chanting Nama Parad, yes, you're chanting offensively, but don't stop. Through your sincere endeavor, Namanya Eva Harantyagam means the name himself will remove your sin, your offense. The mercy of the name. He will see that you are trying. He will see that you are struggling. And he will personally help. This is Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu's realization from the scriptures. We cannot avoid making offenses, but the holy name himself will give us good nourishment and relieve us from our offenses if we have love, affection, and a little connection with him. This is the main thing. If our desire is heartfelt, then we must always continuously try to chant the Lord's name. Continuous, attentive chanting will attract the grace of the holy name to mercifully clean our hearts, remove all our obstacles, and excuse our offenses. Through his Siksastakam, we can see that Mahaprabhu's first expression and teaching Cheto Darpana Marjanam, cleaning the mirror of the mind, comes by the grace of the holy name to the practitioner in the last stage. I think what Gurudev is saying here is that, that purification, that pure chanting, it won't be possible immediately, but, we have to start with impure chanting, but then, gradually, calling upon the mercy of the name, then finally the name will purify us and make our chanting pure, clean. Okay, so that's the end of Gurudev's discussion of the 6th verse. Let's see, where did I put the golden cane? Here it is. Okay. So we can read something from here. See how long it is. We can finish it off. Oh yeah, we can finish. Just a few pages. Okay. And this chapter is Hankering for Perfection, is the title selected. So the verse again, O Lord, when will tears flow from my eyes like waves and my voice tremble in ecstasy? When will the hairs of my body stand on end while chanting your holy name? In this verse, the devotee's prayer has been granted, and he has acquired a position in Krishna's domain. Now his ambition has no end. Although he is posted in a safe position, he is again praying for further promotion. First, he aspired only for an insignificant position as the dust under the soles of Krishna's divine feet. Then the grant came. The touch of Krishna's holy feet came to the dust, and the dust was converted as if by a magic wand. Now a greater, higher demand automatically comes. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj is pointing out another point of progression here between the 5th and the 6th verse. In the 5th verse, the devotee is feeling very much their material condition. They're living there within the relativity of this material environment, feeling that need for connection with the Lord. And so they're saying, just give me any relationship with you. A particle of dust at your lotus feet is enough. But now that prayer has been granted, and the devotee has been given that connection with the Lord, but now they have that, their appetite is increasing. And it's not enough anymore. They want a closer, more intimate connection with the Lord. The devotee thinks, what is this? I prayed only to become the dust of the soles of your feet. But what do I now feel within me? I am the dust of the earth, and you are the supreme absolute truth. But by the very touch of your lotus feet, dust has been converted into such a great and inconceivable substance. I wonder, how is it that I have been transformed? Now I find that my demand is for greater intimacy. First I aspired for servitude, but now by the touchstone of your lotus feet, that hope has been converted into spontaneous attraction, ragamar. Spontaneous attraction can only mean Krishna, not Narayan or Ramachandra. Krishna means one who is worshipped by divine love and affection. He is the king of affection, the center of affection and love. The devotee's whole conception of devotion changed just by coming in touch with Krishna's lotus feet. And he was graced by the demand for more intimacy. Greater love and affection came to grace that servitor. He was raised to such a plane of dedication that his prayer has changed. He thinks, what is this? I can't check my tears. They are coming incessantly. And when I try to chant your name, my Lord, I feel that I am losing control. Some interference from another quarter is moving me, disturbing my normal thinking and aspirations. I feel I am in the midst of another plane. I am nowhere. I have lost control. I have become a doll in the hands of some other power. My aspirations taking me towards something else. Now I not only want a connection with you as a servitor from a distance, but coming in touch with the magic wand of your lotus feet. My aspiration has changed. I see that so many devotees are engaged in your service and chanting your name, and seeing this, my hopes have been raised. I want to be lifted to that position. I can visualize that position from far away, but now my earnest prayer is that I may be raised to that level. Your connection has given me such thirst. I want to be handled by you. Play with me as you like in your own way. My heart hankers after such a relationship with you. When I chant your name with this feeling, I find that my previous conception has changed, and my new hankering is for the standard of spontaneous love. I pray that you lift me into that plane of your divine affection and love. That's the end of that chapter. Okay, and tomorrow we can come to the 7th verse. Jai Shri Bhakti Shiva Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. You feel like singing that?
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Haravaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha.
Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana.
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana.
Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohana.
Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohana.
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra.
Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha.
Jaya Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha.
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha.
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Rasa Raghunatha.
Echai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana.
Echai Gosai Kori Charana Vandana.
Yavate Vignana Svabhista Purana.
Ramavate Vignana Shabhishta Purana.
Echai Gosai Jara Muhitara Dasa.
Echai Gosai Jaya Muhitara Dasa.
Tasavara Pada Menu Mona Panchagrasa.
Tansabhara Pada Denu Mora Panchagrasa.
Kavirana Charamani Sevi Bhakti Sanavasa.
Adira Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivasa.
Janame Janame More Yavilasa.
Janame Janame Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.